call the order here. Today is the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting on September 22nd, 2025 at the Lashley Community Room. And we'll do a roll call, please.
Tony Gray.
Here.
Patrice Petrick.
Here.
Robert Seifert.
Here.
James Wilton.
Here.
John Reinders.
Here.
Charles Lewis.
Here.
Heather Knupp.
Here.
Thank you.
We'll all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any announcements? Zoning official?
Not at this time.
Okay. Our next meeting is October 27th. Everybody look at their calendar. If you have a problem, let Rachel know or Sarah. We're going to have to swear, and the clerk's going to have to swear in people. You want to do that now?
Yep.
If everybody will rise who's going to testify or speak today and be sworn in.
Anyone intending to provide testimony at today's proceedings, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in today's proceedings? I do. Thank you.
We have the minutes that have just been passed out to everybody. We have to approve those from the July 28th meeting because our September meeting was canceled. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the July 28th minutes. Somebody?
Seconded. So moved and seconded.
Okay. I don't know who moved it, but it's been moved and seconded that we approve the July 28th minutes for the board.
Can I get clarification on the motion in the second?
Chuck gave the motion.
Okay.
And I
did the
second.
Reinders second? Okay.
Yes.
So that's done. Everybody's been approved. Today we're going to consider the quasi-judicial public hearing on V-03-2025, a request by Carlos Reyes as the authorized applicant on behalf of Open Concept Developers LLC, property owner, pursuant to Chapter 26, Section 16.10 upon the Board of Code for a 10-foot setback reduction to allow a 15-foot rear setback reduction instead of the required 25 feet of proposed multifamily development. City, you're up.
Good afternoon, Board. Rachel Berry, zoning official for the record, and I have been sworn. The screen that is up right now is the proposed site plan that was included in your agenda packets in the staff report. So just a basic summary of the request and some background information. So just as it states in the title, this is a setback reduction request, a 10-foot reduction to allow a 15-foot rear yard setback instead of the required 25 feet. The property is located at 3930 San Rocco Drive, and it is zoned GM15, which is general multifamily with a maximum density of 15 units per acre. The applicant is proposing an 8-unit development. They did meet with staff in design studio appointments. Misinformation indicated a 15-foot rear setback. So when we met with the applicant earlier this year or late 2024, I believe it was earlier this year, 2025, that's when we noticed the 15-foot setback in the rear and noted that we could not approve it because the LDRs state 25 feet. So the applicant has now applied for the variance. Section 1610B of the LDRs lists the approval criteria, which is also listed out on pages 2 and 3 of your staff report, as well as the burden of persuasion. So the burden of persuasion states the applicant shall be required to demonstrate that the granting of a variance will alleviate a clearly demonstrable hardship approaching confiscation as distinguished from a special privilege or convenience sought by the applicant, or that strict application of the ordinance would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict reasonable use of the property by reason of any one of the following that are listed in the staff report as well as on the screen in front of you. So there's 3 criteria there. One would be exceptional narrowness, shallowness, size, or shape of a specific property at the time of enactment of this ordinance, which would be referring to the LDRs. exceptional topographical conditions or other extraordinary and exceptional situation or conditions of such property, or the condition, situation, or development of property immediately adjacent to the subject property. If you have any questions for me, I can answer them, or the applicant and agent are here, and they have some information for you all.
I have a question.
Sure.
Have there been any other requests in this subdivision for a reduction of rear setback?
Not to my knowledge. I know that the villas that are across the street on the same San Rocco, they received variances for additional driveways. That was a number of years ago, but as far as setback reduction requests, I'm not aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
One question. Chuck Lewis for the record. Is this property subject to the deed restrictions in first door aisles?
Possibly, but if so, we would not be involved in enforcing them.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Applicant, you're up.
Well, my name is Carlos Reyes. Thank you for this meeting. And actually, we are not real estate developers. Actually, we started this
Can
project.
you use the microphone for me, please?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Actually,
They record everything, so you know.
okay. Well, my name is Carlos Reyes, and as I was explaining, we are not real estate developers. This project started more than 2 years ago, just after a dinner with friends in our families. Diego is one of our best friends. He's a civil engineer, and his wife. Another friend from New York was having dinner with us and his wife. I'm a cruise ship designer, an architect by training, but I designed cruise ships for the last 25 years. And we are not developers, and my wife is a real estate agent, and she said, well, Punta Gorda is the place where the construction and the activity is moving in Florida. And we said, well, why don't we find a lot and build a nice property which we know how to design? And that's how the project started. So, ¿sí puedes poner la presentación? Yeah. So, it's charging the presentation, sorry. So that's how we started the project, and we have been designing. We like to believe that there are very nice spaces in cruise ships, so we thought we can do something very modern and nice. We took a lot of time trying to find the right property. So I think that the frame that I would like to give you to be able to start this presentation is that San Rocco Terraces is a project developed in full cooperation with zoning and regulatory offices. All decisions throughout the project have been based on meetings, official guidance, and comments from the city staff, always in the utmost good faith of compliance. That's the main thing in our frame. And as you will see through the presentation, we have taken into consideration and apply every single point, even if it's small, in the whole development of the project. That's what we are used to. Designing cruise ships, it has a lot of regulations, and we cannot miss one, ever. So, even though it's a very long process, because we have been 2 years into this project and we still don't have a building permit, we have hundreds of emails that goes back and forth, which would be impossible to show and explain to you. So we have compressed the presentation in 10 major happenings that happened through time in these 2 years. And I believe that going through those 10 major points, you will clearly understand where we are standing today. So if you kindly go to the next presentation, to the next one. What you see in the screen is a timeline that we have prepared for you. As you see, it's a 24-month timeline from October 2023 to today. Those 10 happenings will explain you exactly where we are today and why we are here. After investing months on looking different properties here in the city, and actually one of our partners lives here, so that helped a lot. We found one that we said, okay, this one is the one. So on October 18, we selected the lot, and that was our first visit to the zoning in Punta Gorda before we purchased the lot, obviously, to clearly understand what is it that we could do with it. So through this presentation, you will see that the timeline will have yellow indicators in the points that we are explaining, and as we move along, they will become green, meaning we already explained them. So at all times, you will see where we are in the presentation. So right now we are going to refer to the October 18 when we selected the lot. We did the first visit to Punta Gorda zoning department. In that visit, we met a gentleman called Frank Bear, super nice guy, super nice gentleman. We went to the office probably in the right day, in the right time. He devoted like an hour and a half with us and explained us exactly every single aspect of the lot, and he gave us the information that we were looking for. What was the maximum density, what was the setbacks, what was the distances between the road and the properties, what was the maximum height. And to our surprise, actually those are two lots. What you see there is not only one lot, it's two lots. If we would purchase one lot, we could do 3 homes. If we purchase 2 lots, we could do 11 homes. But then, which to us didn't make sense, but it is what it is. So we start observing the density of the street. You see in front of the lot we have some multifamilies, but actually we did count of the units in front of us, and 11 units was too high for the density of the street, in our opinion. Sometimes it's not just about the regulation. We could stuff 11 units there, of course, and it's easier to sell because they are smaller, but it would disrupt the normal use of the street that has a density that, in our opinion, was more important than the regulation itself. So because of that, we decided that 9 units was a lot more consistent with the density of the place. And we decided ourselves to lower it to 9 units. So what you see on the right is his handwriting with his recommendations, plus the piece where indicates the regulation itself. So when we left that meeting, it was very clear outline of the guidelines and 11 units allowed.
Can I interrupt you just for a minute?
Please.
This says in the handwriting, it says a rear setback 25 feet.
Correct. We go
Okay,
there.
we're going to get to that. All right.
Yes, absolutely, and we never ignore it. We will show you. So, if we go to the next one, after that meeting, and having really, really clear what is it that we could do with the lot, we purchased the lot on November 9. This one is a copy of the closing statement. We purchased the lot for $213,328.72. Very happy day for all of us. So then after we purchased the lot, we went to the second meeting in zoning in Punta Gorda. Obviously, from the moment that we start deciding on this lot and we purchased the lot, we start working on the design to see what we could fit with the guidelines that we were given. And it was pretty good. So we went to the second meeting in zoning, and if you kindly go to the next one. What you see there is the 2 approaches that we had at that time. Obviously, it was the first approach, first time we visited, it was very likely to be off, and actually it was off. So we had 2 different options in which we preferred the second one because it had a nice entrance from the center of the project, from the street to the park behind. And it turned out that we were completely wrong because the space in the back for maneuvering in the 2 rear units, it was not enough. And in addition to it, as you can see, we had the 2 entrances on the sides right at the property line. And they said, no, you cannot have that. You need 7 feet 6 inches before you start having driveway. So obviously that killed immediately both options because it was impossible to make it work. But okay, with these new guidelines, please note, and this is very important, that even from the first approach that we had, first time we presented, we have 25 feet in the back. So we went back to the drawing board and worked on a solution, of course. And then, if you kindly go to the next one, we went on December 28 to the 3rd meeting. This meeting is very important, you will see, because later on you will see in the presentation, that is the reason why we are here today. So we went to the 3rd meeting, if you could go to the next one, and we present this other option. This option allows enough space in the back to maneuvering as per the regulations. They were happy with it. We addressed the fact that we were entering in right next to the property line, and now you can see the distance, the 7.6. So they were happy with that. But 2 new issues came in that meeting. The first one was that we had the 2 side entrances plus 4 other entrances, as you see, to the houses from the street, from San Rocco. And they said, no, that's not allowed. You cannot have 6 entrances in the same street. You can have both entrances at the ends, and you can have with a permission that is no problem because it has been granted before, one more entrance, that's all. And also, the separation between the blocks became an issue. I don't know if it's clear for you to see there, but we have one block that goes parallel to the street, which is the horizontal one, and we have two other blocks on each side of the area, right there, where Diego is showing. The regulation said that we should have 10 feet separation between the blocks, and what you see there is 10 feet separation. But actually, the regulation said that is 10 feet separation minimum, or half of the height of the building, whatever is greater. We omitted that. And actually, the building has 40 feet, so actually we should have 20 feet separation between them. So, okay, both issues were flagged there, but fortunately, they were resolved right there with the great help of the experts that were sitting there. There were 5 people, including the director, especially one really senior gentleman everybody was referring to him, and he was super helpful. So in the next slide, you will see we took 5 sets of drawings to be able to give paper copies to everyone, and he took one of them. The red lines that you see there are not our red lines, are his red lines. So as we were addressing the different issues, he gave us the idea of moving the garage entrance to the next one, that one. You see in the first block in front, there are 2 houses in the extreme. So he said, why don't you move the car entrance to the side, so then you don't need those entrances coming from San Rocco, and then the 2 center ones, just make it one, and then you are in compliance. So, okay, that was very easy. At this point, as you could see, we lost another house. We had 9 at the beginning, now we have 8, because since we had to leave all those distances on the side, it was impossible to fit 9, so we dropped another house. Okay, it was necessary. And then the 20 feet distance between the blocks, it would require 10 more feet. So then they said, what you can do is move the 2 side buildings to the back 10 feet to allow the 20 feet between the building, allowing 15 feet in the back. Now the next piece that I will show you is absolutely critical for this case. If you could kindly see the screen and listen to the audio. Tienes que acercarlo aquí rápido. Play.
So it is landing on the lot in the rear, so it would be a 15-foot rear setback. Right, so landing on the lot is not letting it have anything, so it's awful, so it can have a 15-foot rear setback. Actually, even the buildings, it can be 15-foot. How are they? It's half the building height. Half the building height. It's half the building height for the building. So yeah. So you're going to have to. Awesome.
Well, we have 15 to move, right? Not 10 to move.
You're going to.
Then I have to. Well, the good news is that at least the equipment we can do it.
Well, I mean, in the building, if you go back 10 feet, you're going to be ready to 20 feet.
Right, but we still need a little rear make the.
Correct.
Even if you don't have any circulation, house circulation, how about if we join them?
If you join them.
Okay. That's another idea, because if we can join them and push the whole thing back, then we have a lot of mistakes. We have 10 plus 10.
Have you started to look at the stormwater management areas? I haven't looked at any, that's why I brought it for this meeting. I just.
Okay. So, as you hear it, we were very clearly being told 5 times during the conversation that we could have 15 feet in the back, not only verbally, but in writing. So obviously we were very happy because that would solve both issues right away. We left home. Yeah.
By who? What date?
¿Puedes ir una atrás? I'll tell you in a second. Dos atrás.
And did those people agree to have their conversations recorded?
Yes, of course.
You have a signed?
Actually, the conversation
No,
was recorded.
actually, you have a signed document that says that they agreed to have that conversation recorded. You have that?
Please allow me to answer. The record was taken by the zoning and ourselves. So they said, we are going to have an audio of the conversation. And we said, absolutely, no problem. Can we have ours? Yeah, absolutely, no problem. So we put a cell phone, and the zoning has the same exact recording. Am I correct?
Rachel Berry, zoning official for the record. That is correct. We record all of our design studio meetings, and so even if someone doesn't record theirs at the same time, they could submit a public records request and then get the audio that way.
So you asked about the date. ¿Puedes ir una más atrás? It was December 18th. 28th, sorry, December 28th, and it's in the records, and it was recorded, yes, by the city. So if we can continue, please. After that, after that, on March 20th, we went back and do the work, now we do these new indications. So on March 20, we came back to the zoning department to have another meeting. And at the same day, we had the meeting with the fire department. It is necessary to obtain an authorization from the fire department. So we had the meeting at the same time. So if you go to the next one, we came with this new drawing. So now you see the 15 feet setback updated as per the previous meeting. Now you see the 20 feet block separation as it was required. The fire department review was great, it was approved right away, immediately. So at this point, with all clear understanding and everything 100% clear, we hired Links Engineering to develop the civil engineering. Now we started spending a lot of money on engineering work. Please continue. So Links Engineer started their work. We developed the principle that they wanted to approach for water management, etc. And then on April 11, we have the 5th meeting with the zoning department. If you go, please, to the 5th meeting. This is the 5th meeting. As you see, now the principle of water drainage is implemented, but still it shows exactly the same as in the first one. 15 feet in the back, 20 feet separation. And now we propose to zoning if we will be allowed to include those 2 guest spaces between the buildings. Even though we were already meeting the regulation, each house has 2 parking spaces inside the house and 2 guest spaces outside. But again, further to what the regulation calls for, it's important to provide a good experience and good service in the design. So having 4 more parking spaces always helps. So we asked zoning if they would have any problem if we have those 2 parking spaces on each side. They said, no, it's no problem, you can have it. You are fulfilling already the regulation, but it's okay, you can have it. Great. So we presented, we showed the principle, and as a result of this meeting, we hire now Cairns Engineering. Cairns Engineering, they do the full development of the project. They do electrical, mechanical, structural, everything. Now it's a lot more money into engineering. So we started their work. Well, what you see now in the screen, it was a really bad thing that has nothing to do with zoning, but we want to show you is only one slide that will explain the whole situation, just for you to understand. From May 24 to April 25th, we lost 1 year of time, and you will see why. On the meeting that we have on May 21st, we were asked to contact the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Southwest Florida Management District. They are the ones who evaluate the principle of how you make the drainage in the lot. So we did exactly as they said, and on May 21st, we went to see them. The whole year development, it will be explained in one slide, but it was critical for us because we lost 1 year. Can you please go? 11/24 fifth meeting in zoning, we were instructed to contact the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, specifically the Southwest Florida Water Management District. Of course, we did. We sent them the civil engineer that was developed by Lynx, and the assigned specialist asked a large number of requests for almost a year. Lynx Engineering repeatedly said that the requests were not applicable to this type of project, but the specialists continued rejecting their work. On mid-February, we fired Lynx. Obviously, we thought, well, you're not meeting what they are requiring, you're not doing your work, so we fired them, which later proved to be very unfair, and we felt terribly as they were correct. On February 26, 25, we received an email from the South Florida Management District, and you will see it in the next page. The specialist handling the case was not working with them anymore, and the file was now in the hands of the supervisor, who realized that the requested information for almost a year was not needed. Exactly what Lynx has pointed out several times. I got a phone call from the supervisor when I was in the mall in Boca Raton, and she told me this. Within 2 hours before I left the mall, she sent me the clearance from the water management district. It took her 2 hours, and it took us 1 year of money grounded, basically. So it was a terrible situation, but what could we do? At that point, Link Engineering was very upset with us, of course, and we had to hire another company, Blue Sky Engineer, to finally finish in the process on April 25, obviously, additional cost. I know it has nothing to do with zoning, but it's just to portray to you the hard time that we have had with the project. If we could kindly continue. This is the document that she sent us, where it says that we were not requested to have all that documentation. It took, as I said, 2 hours to fix it. Could you please continue? Siguiente. Okay, now, having that resolved after a year, on May 1st, we met the building department. So we had a meeting with, if you can go further, we had a meeting with Ronald, which was super helpful, and he also sat with us like for an hour and reviewed the drawings. What you see on the left is the list of the drawings that we do. We follow exactly the same level of detail that we follow with a cruise line project. He looked at the drawings, he was the chief building official, reviewed the drawings and found it very complete, which we were happy to hear that. He said that he did not see any issues, and we agreed submitting that day for the permit. Nevertheless, he pointed out the 15 feet setback. But we explained the whole story behind, and then he said, okay, if that is the case, I don't have anything to do with zoning and building, you send me the drawings and I'll do my work. It was very good news for us because he pointed out that maybe in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we could have the permit done. So after 2 years, it was a light in the tunnel, you know. So we left his office with Diego, and before we went back home, we said, wow, why don't we stop for a second in the zoning department and let them know that we are going to submit the drawings today. So we went, it's just a few blocks about, it's 5 minutes. So we went there. Okay. That was same May 1st visit to the zoning department. When we were there, we were a little bit surprised because the office was empty. There were 2 people. So they told us that all the previous employees were let go, all of them. So only there were 2 people, the new director who kindly met us, and she also, we didn't even have an appointment or anything like that, but she also gave us a lot of time and looked at the drawings, and she pointed again the same issue with the 15 feet. So obviously we didn't have all the material to defend ourselves like we have now, but we explained the situation. We showed the drawings that we submitted to the point that we had them at that day. And we were explaining that all the background and the justified dimensions. After reviewing, we were informed that we could not ask even for a variance. So, okay, we went back home to the board again to try to resolve it with the new information. Obviously, trying to keep the existing engineering because we already had spent a lot of money in engineering. So we went back home, we started working on it. I sat myself, Diego, 2 more architects from our company, and unfortunately the result was that it's impossible. We cannot make it work with the same engineering. We would need to do again the project, and it would take a tremendous amount of time in redesign, and obviously all the expenses related to it because the engineering doesn't work. So, on June 5th, we went again to the zoning department to explain that actually it was impossible to do it. We tried to do our best to comply with what we were requested now, to go back to the 25 feet, but now at the stage that we were, it was impossible to make it work. So we met with 3 people that were not in the zoning department that day. They were very attentive to our explanation, and they really tried to understand what was going on. Of course, they couldn't make a decision at that second, but they said, okay, we found grounds for you to at least ask for a variance. So you kindly go to the next one. As I said, we met with the 3 people that you see in your screen, and it was impossible to adjust the design using the engineering already fully developed. We will need to redesign a new unit to be implemented in the 2 sites, which would require new engineering, new sets of drawings, new water drainage calculations, very expensive and very time consuming. For that reason, we requested a new meeting at the zoning department to explain again the situation, and on June 5th, we met 3 people who after our presentation found merit to request the variance, and we applied for the variance. Siguiente. And then September 22nd, today, we are here in the variance meeting. So I think that these 10 points gives you a clear idea of why we are here, and most important, the idea that we have not tried to hide the fact that we knew about the 25 feet, is that we were told that we could move it, and based on that we designed the whole engineering and the point where we are today. If you kindly go to the next one. Now I would like to explain you the specifics of the variance. Our lot is the blue rectangle that you see in your screens. We are located behind Home Depot. The main parking lot is far away from the front of the building. You see the upper side of your screen is the entrance to the Home Depot, and that trapezoid form that you see above the building is the parking lot for the Home Depot. Behind us there is a very small overflow, I guess, parking area where we have never seen more than 1 or 2 cars parked there. Behind the building is the loading area, but the loading area has a different entrance. As you see on the right of your screen, there is an entrance from the street behind. Probably one time we have seen a truck parked there, but actually no one uses it. The left corner of our lot, behind our lot, is a lake where no construction will ever happen in the future. Now, the next slide is going to show you, can we go to the next one, please? A closer view. The parking area behind is rarely used, as I said, and is not the main entrance at all for the lot. San Rocco Drive is a dead end. If you keep driving to the right, let's say, it ends at some point. There is a country club, and you cannot keep going, so it's a close dead end. Now, it called my attention, of course I haven't measured, but just by perception, which sometimes is even more important than dimensions, if you see in the floor plan, the second house to the left of ours are the gray shaded areas, that house seems almost aligned with ours. Yeah. So perception-wise, it's almost the same as what we are requesting today. I'm not saying that it's the same because I haven't measured it, but the point is, one side of the 10 feet that we are getting close is in the corner of the lake, which really doesn't make any difference. And the other one, which is not the entire building, it's just the 2 points of the building, it's the 2 ends of the building, is to a rear parking lot where you don't see absolutely any difference. There is, in our opinion, no community benefit or community harm in any possible way if we move 10 feet to the back. The front of the building, which would be a completely different situation, is fulfilling the regulation 100%. If we go to the next one, please. Now you see the 15 versus 25 setback creates no change in the impact of the perception. Even in our opinion, it looks aligned with the left house, as I told you. The neighbors would not be affected since the difference in the setback is not towards their property. You know, we have 2 neighbors, one on each side, but we are not requesting in any case to go any closer to them, so they would not be affected at all. is just 2 points in the setback. If we can go to the next one, please. We did a computerized rendering of how the property would look at 25 feet and 15 feet. And because of the perception, if you were looking at the drawing floor plan from above, from the sky, obviously you could very easily see that there is a difference of 10 feet because you're looking at it in this way. But none of us can do that. We will always be standing on ground. On ground is very difficult for the eye to catch that you're 10 feet farther or 10 feet closer. And on top of it, the parking lot where we are standing there, it has a different elevation than our lot. It's lower than the lot, which makes it even more difficult to have a real perception of distance. So in both cases, 10 feet or 15 feet, this is what you see from the parking lot, which it will be seen by no one, probably the driver of that pickup truck, if he ever pay any attention at all. So again, what I was saying is no harm or benefit for the community in any way. If you go to the next one, we would like to give you an idea of how the project looks like. This is basically how it looks like. So the issue that we are having is in the far left point that you see in the wall right there, where when you're standing in the street, it's absolutely impossible to notice if it's a little bit farther or a little bit closer. If you go to the next one, this has nothing to do with the distance. It's just for you to have a feeling of how the project would look like. Next one. This is from another angle, how it would look like, and this is what you would see if you're inside one of the homes. If any of you have interest in seeing how the project works inside and how the design is done, of course we have all the drawings here and we will be very happy to show you. If you keep going. Now I would like to give you a market information of the last 2 years which affect us horribly. The National Producer Price Index data shows that the construction input costs have increased approximately by 1.3% year over year as of early 2025. Additionally, the long-term residential construction inflation averages about 5 to 6% annually in non-extraordinary periods, meaning that we have experienced already in this delay probably 12% difference in the price of the construction. But that is not the worst. The worst is that meanwhile, local data, you can refer to Redfin or Zillow. In our case, we also refer to the MLS, which is the multiple listing system that the realtors use, because my wife has access to it, so we can do the proper analysis. And unfortunately, the prices in Punta Gorda, different to what 2 years ago was shown, have declined 19 to 20%. So what you can see is that while our construction prices have increased, these projected sales prices have decreased. So that the divergence between the rising cost of the failing revenues in addition to the investment idling for 2 years make impossible to obtain any financial gain in this project today. Hopefully things change in the future. Can you go to the next one? What the variance deny would mean to us. We have invested a total of $363,000, consisting of the purchase of the lot, surveys, design, civil engineer, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural engineering, detailed drawings, and legal expenses. With 2 years of buried investment, the construction costs increase over that time, and the current selling prices, we are just aiming to break even. It would be financially impossible to absorb the cost of additional expenses in design, engineering, and the time that it would require, also bearing the sunk cost of the work already invested. So the closing that I would like to give you is that in the best of our knowledge, our project was always in full compliance with all official guidance. We pay attention to the absolute last point, not omitting anything. We acting in the utmost good faith, always following all instructions, undoubtedly relying on zoning staff. I mean, for us, whatever they said, we didn't even question ever, because who else can we ask? Delays and reversals cause significant financial harm. A lot, nothing to do with the zoning department, is the situation that I explained you with the water management district. If the variance is denied, we will be forced to abandon the project, and it will be cause an undue hardship for our families who actually funded this project. So we respectfully request you approval of the variance. So I hope that this explains pretty much why we are here. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you. Very good. Questions? Jeff, you got any questions?
Lot.
Shoot.
Took a tour of the street today, and I photographed some buildings that were already on there. The building you showed won't look anything like it, but a lot of the buildings have a, they show like 6 and 8 units with parking. This is the one that they were talking about that had the driveway, that had the variance for the pavement in the front. And then the other thing that Mr. Leskovich, can zoning override a deed restriction in a local neighborhood? Well, I did talk to the president of the Association for Burnt Store Isles, and they haven't talked to you about any of this, and they haven't approved anything.
Who, sorry? I don't know who they are.
The homeowners association of Burnt Store Isles, where this project is located.
We were not even informed that there was an association in
There is
any
an
way.
association, and I talked to them today. And you're clearly within in their jurisdiction.
It's the first time we hear that there was an association.
Well, you've had a lot of surprises for this. This is just another surprise in the Greek tragedy, apparently. But yeah, you need another proof.
Okay, so that's another thing that we have to.
Right.
Again, we'll do it, of course. The thing is, if we don't have the variance, it's not even a point of doing it because we have to abandon the project. So if we have the variance, of course, we will do
Okay.
whatever is needed in the process.
It exceeds everything that's in there. All those other buildings are in there with a 25-foot setback except for yours. So, I don't, in my mind, you haven't demonstrated to me the need to, but I think you should redesign the building and make it fit in the footprint. And then go get your approval from the Builders Association, Homeowners Association in the Isles and get your permit.
Well, we will submit to them whatever we need to submit to them.
They won't approve this.
Well, as I said, this is news for us. It's the first time we hear about an association.
I was a little shocked too when I was talking to them on the phone.
All right, thank you for the information.
I have no questions.
Well, I'll go first. Jim? Dries? Deb?
I was just going to ask to see the slide that you put up that had the 3, I guess it's the burden of persuasion.
Yeah. That's 1610-8C.
Actually, can you go back to slide 5, I think it is? Here's the requirement. A 15-foot rear yard.
Which one is that you're looking for?
Slide, you talking about Rachel's slide or the applicant's?
The requirement, I guess I was looking somewhere it was written, the requirements that it should be 25 foot if it backs to a waterway, a street,
I see.
or what was the third?
Was that the burden of persuasion, Rachel? Is that what you're
No,
talking
it's,
No,
it's whatever the,
that was mentioned in the audio during their presentation. I can try to see about pulling that up here.
and the audio was who? Who was giving you this guidance?
5 people that we met
The
that
DRC,
day.
design studio, is that who it was, Rachel?
Correct.
They have all the heads of each of the departments meet in what they call design studio, so they get people on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on the wrong track, I guess. But
Yeah, so I guess it wasn't clear, were they advising you to seek a 10-foot variance, or were they saying it didn't qualify for the 25 and it qualified for a 15-foot? That's the part I didn't.
Oh, we can provide a copy of it. What they said is that we could, and they suggested to move the two side units 10 feet back because there was no problem having 15 feet in the back. That's why we moved.
Rachel,
Oh,
what were
it's
they,
the side.
what were they saying? I don't understand it either. Why would they,
That was my understanding as well. I don't know the why. I could make presumptions, but I don't want to put, any assumptions on record. I don't know why that was mentioned. The single-family district has different setback requirements, but the multifamily district, which is up on your screen now, minimum rear yard abutting another yard 25 feet, waterway or golf course 25 feet. But if you go up to the previous section, single family, that's where it does rear yard abutting another lot or greenbelt 15 feet. So for
If it's abutting
single
greenbelt,
family,
yeah.
it would be permitted. And then also if you were building a single family in a multifamily lot, then you can follow single family setbacks. But unfortunately this,
So the multifamily, the requirement is if it's backed to another person's yard, a waterway, a street, or a golf course. And so maybe they were saying that G4 doesn't need to, is there an or else?
so it doesn't
Otherwise 15.
abut a residential yard specifically, but when we go to the highway commercial district, it does have a rear yard requirement as well. And so that's what it's referring to, whether it's a residential yard or commercial yard, it's just the separation requirements from each zoning district.
Can you say that again?
Sure. So even though Home Depot doesn't necessarily have like a yard, the way that we would commonly think of it behind the building, in the code, if we were to go to the highway commercial district, 3.10, they also have rear yard requirements as well.
A parking lot is considered a rear yard?
So in the requirements for that district, it does have a minimum rear yard of 25 feet. And so their 25-foot yard and this multifamily yard would be abutting each other. Even though, like I said, it's not like a typical yard that we would think of. It is just space behind Home Depot.
Any more?
Yes, one last question. Heather Konefke for the record. If one government body is giving advice and that conflicts with what we think our standards are, how do we resolve those issues?
Well, that's a good question, and we have an attorney here who can answer that.
Don't put me on that.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the hot spot. I guess, the question is, we've obviously have a mistake from the city. They've had a lot of mistakes too. We're not the sole culpable party here, I don't think. But what does the case law say?
Stephen Leskovich for the record, the interim city attorney for the city of Punta Gorda. So it has put the city into a conundrum here because we've got the audio. I was apprised of it prior to today as well. So the position that the city is in is, can they demonstrate, when I say they, I mean the applicant demonstrate that they relied upon the advice of city officials. So there's what's called specific performance. Did they rely upon bad advice? Sure they did, but it was the city officials that gave it to them. So if they relied upon it, and if they can show that they are harmed in a way, and excluding the I think it was $200 and some thousand they paid for the lot, I'm just going to round up to $100,000 they have in engineering and other costs. Could the city be on the hook for costs for their damage? Potentially. So it puts the city into a unique position. And the city is not opposed to the applicant being granted the variance. because of where it butts up to. It butts up to Home Depot. Now, I'm not aware of the Burnt Store Isles HOA down there. Even if the city said we're not opposed to it, or if you guys recommend, yeah, go ahead and have your 15-foot or your 10-foot variance, they may still have other problems with Burnt Store Isles HOA, if that's what it's called. That we have no control over. But hearing the audio, and I was apprised of it, it puts the city into a unique position. You know, there was a different case here not too long ago as well. The difference is in that other case, they had actually laid the foundation and had done a lot more. Here, they've relied upon advice and actually have written drawings that have the city employees' dictations on it, so they're relying upon it. But I can tell you the city's not opposed to them being able to build, but it may take a different avenue with Burnt Store. But Ms. Nufke, but to answer you directly, potentially the city could be on the hook for if they could demonstrate that they have damages. Whether they'll be successful in court, that I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Does that answer your question?
I guess, I mean, I thought when Attorney Levin gave his opinion that he said that the city had no obligation to make any changes. Not that they weren't culpable or liable for it, but they had no obligation to do that, and that the city could do as they please.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Although the code says a 25-foot setback,
Yeah,
that's what the code says.
it does.
And we can take a hardline rule and say, look, it's a 25-foot setback regardless. They're asking for a variance based on bad advice provided by city employees. So are you guys obligated to approve a proposed variance? No, you're not, because of bad advice. I'm just letting you know there could be issues down the road. I don't know if it actually would or not. But I would agree with Mr. Levin, you're not obligated
Okay.
by it. Anything else while I'm
Any other
standing here?
questions while he's up there? Thank you. Appreciate it.
I see you starting to, no? All right.
I do have a couple questions. Have you guys built any other multifamily projects in the county, in the city?
No.
No. You probably never built another one either.
I can show you 18 cruise ships, but not one house.
No, so do you know about the city's website that we have the entire land development regulations
Absolutely.
online, and
And,
that you can access those?
We did, and that's where we get that we should have 25 feet.
Yeah.
But obviously, two things happen. When we opened our office in the East Coast, we did all the drawings for the office, and we went to the building department, and then denied the permit because a regulation had changed. It was a minor thing that we resolved with no time. And the answer from the gentleman was, well, we are here to have meetings with you. You know, the websites sometimes are not current to the regulations. That's why we are here. So we learned that lesson in a hard way. Easy to fix, but in a hard way. So yes, we went to the website, of course, and that's why, as you see, our first issues of the design called for 25 feet. We were respecting that, as you know. We changed it because we were told by the utmost authorities in zoning that we could change it. Otherwise, we wouldn't. We would find another solution. But now we are too much invested in time and money, relying 100%, as you were saying, on the advice from the best officials that we could ask for. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, yes.
Okay. Is there, can you put a cost on what it would, could you revise these at all? You can't revise these at all and keep, would you have to lose a building? Would you lose parking?
As I explained in the conversation, when we were told that we could not even ask for the variance, we went back to redesign it, of course, trying to use the same engineering. And we did all our efforts to do it. And the result is impossible to redesign it using the same engineering. We would need to wipe it out and start all over again, which at this point, we better don't do anything.
Yeah. But you did a great presentation.
Thank you.
And very thorough, and
Thank you.
we understand where you're coming from.
Which is 100% accurate.
Okay.
I do have one question. real
Sure.
quick. Tony Gray for the record. On the other facility or the home that is a couple of blocks over, that is clearly looks like it's in line with what your property would be requesting. That is a single-family home, is that correct? It's not a...
No, I think it's double, it's like 2 homes, but many things could happen. Maybe that construction is being there for 30 years, who knows, and maybe the regulation was different. It could be a matter of perception. Sometimes what could happen is that you see it from above, and it looks identical, but maybe the lot line is a little bit shifted, so it's still fulfilling. But you're right, actually, the house seems to be in the same alignment. So that's why we insist that there is no harm to anyone at all if we go 10 feet or not 10 feet. It would be, I mean, you could say no, of course you can. And just to let you know, we are not looking after the city compensating us for anything at all. We just want to build it, that's it.
You know, if you go back, when you bought that property, you probably got a title insurance policy. That title insurance policy would reference if the homeowners association, the deed restrictions, restrict your construction. It should have, you could get a copy from them too of the thing. And some of those
I'll
deed
get a copy
restrictions
then.
have expired because of age. We have a statute that wipes them out. So I don't know. I think all of Deep Creek, right, Rachel, has turned over the deed restrictions sort of to the city. They no longer enforce theirs, and that's Burnstone Isles. It's part of Funwood Isles. It's just a different section. So I don't know. You need to look at your title insurance and hire an attorney to have them see what rights they have and what rights you have. My advice.
Well, thank you very much. But we hope we don't have to get to lawyers and
No,
with
no,
all due
I'm
respect
talking about-
or anything
I'm
like
talking
that. We
not
just
for
want
the
to build it. That's all. Not bothering anyone.
I'm talking about the homeowners association.
Yeah.
Not the city.
But
Okay?
the principle would be the same with the homeowners association. We don't want to bother the homeowners association. We don't want to build 11 units that we are entitled to,
Yeah.
because we feel that it would harm the street. The density that they have is different. It's
Yeah.
not a lot of people in one point. Putting 11 units there, that would harm the street. Even though we could, but we don't want to do that. We want to not have trouble with anyone.
You can put 11 units there and be within the 25-foot restriction. You don't have to deal with the board.
Yes, but the problem with that is that you would have, if you put 20 units, 11 units there, you have 22 cars every morning. That changed completely the dynamics of the low density that the street has. It has nothing to do with the regulations. Of course we can do
There's
it.
condos across the street from it.
They don't have so many. Those condos across, it has four units
In one.
in one building, correct.
So it looks like there's about 15 of them.
Yeah, but spreading a lot more space than ours. We will be concentrating a lot of people in just 2 lots, you know.
I'm just saying what you can do by the law.
Yeah,
What
I
you can do
know.
by right is you can put your 11 units in there and still have the 25-foot setback. And then you don't have to do the special exception. You can do that,
That is correct.
I would suggest.
Okay.
That is correct, but that's another year and another $100,000, which we would never ever be able to get out. So
Okay, so I'm hearing it's an added expense. I'm also hearing you saying you don't want to do it because
it's both things.
of a, personal standard that you think you're going to impact.
That
the
is
area.
correct.
But if you own property and you want to build the building, you have rights, and those rights are outlined in the building and zoning code. And you can do that. You could put 11 units on that house, and nobody's going to say a thing. 25-foot setback.
You are 100% correct, but we would prefer not to have 11 units if we can, not to harm the street. It would change the dynamic tremendously.
The precedent that would be set, allowing you to go around the setback, would open a floodgate that I'm not interested in opening.
Well, when the time comes, if we get the variance, of course I will have a meeting with the president and I will explain exactly what you're saying. I say we can build 11 homes, which in my opinion is crazy for the community. Sometimes it's not what you're entitled to, it's what is reasonable to do. Of course, probably we will get more profit if we build 11 units, but all the neighbors will be upset with us, with all reason. I will be very upset if I have my house in front and somebody put 11 units in front of me. But yes, we would be entitled for, but it's not the right thing to do. I don't know.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Jim Wilton for the record. I wasn't aware of Burnstone Isles jurisdiction on this either until you mentioned it, Chuck. And do we know for sure that they have authority over this property? Because they're not here.
and we haven't heard
I
any
talked to Bill
testimony.
Page. Bill Page is the president.
I mean, but that's their responsibility, right? They would have their own setting and their own hearing.
Exactly.
Right,
Not within our
I'm just saying,
jurisdiction.
if we take a step here today, and Burnstore Isles comes in, and turns out they do have jurisdiction over this, and they can impose their requirements on this property, then they could blow everything up completely.
That's right.
And
Well,
I'm just wondering about moving forward in any way on this now, if it's a fact that, and we have to assume because we don't know, there's no testimony on any of that about Burnstore Isles,
right.
that they would blow this whole thing up. So I'm wondering whether it is advisable to table this, to allow time to go to Burnstore Isles, because I don't want you to spend any more time on this
Thank you.
if you don't have to either, but if we would approve it, and you end up having to answer to Burnstore Isles, and they say, no, we're never gonna allow that, and they have the authority to do that, then all of this is for nothing.
For nothing.
You're absolutely right. Even though I doubt that somebody who's looking for the well-being of the condominium, let's call it the association, would say, I'd rather have you building 11 units and putting all that in the street than giving you 10 feet where nobody ever can see them. That would be so unreasonable.
I understand, but if you went to them and they said, we hear what you're saying and we won't object to it, and you could bring that back to us, then that would be much more valuable information for us to base a decision on.
I agree.
Bob Seifert for the record. Yeah, Jim, I think the problem here is going to put that even in more delay. That's way outside of our jurisdiction. That's a private right between landowners. The city has no control. It's nothing to do with the city. We have to deal with city matters. I think we should make a decision here and move on.
All right, so we make a decision, and then this goes up to city council to be voted on, right?
It does. And if I would assume if the homeowners association has anything to do with it, and I think that a lot of those associations that were formed more than 50 years ago, I think most of those have died, to tell you the truth. So a lot of them are voluntary now. I know all of PGI, not the Burnstore part, but the PGI part, they've turned out. So I'm not sure if that's an issue, but it's not our issue. That's all I'm saying. If they want to appear, I'm sure these guys will be talking to them.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm
because
sure that
he was pretty adamant.
Bill Page is running for city council, so his people should be at the next meeting. So that's how I look at it. Well, any more questions from these applicants so we can move on? Okay. If none, thank you. And great job. You did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Let's have some discussion here and see what we want to do. I'll start at your end.
Are you looking for my opinion on the matter?
Yes, I'm looking for your opinion on how we should move forward. We deny this? or
I think we
sustain
should
it?
approve the, can we put up the persuasion again while we're talking? I think the second persuasion gives us an opportunity to call this an extraordinary circumstance and extraordinary or exceptional situation. You know, I think they could I think I would make a strong case that they built their opinion on the advice of officials. And if there was some harm, like if there was, a single family home behind them and now they're going to have some huge thing, but that's a commercial property, it's the back of a commercial property, it's a parking lot. I don't think Home Depot, they might go away, but I don't think that structure as a commercial lot is going away anytime in the foreseeable future. So I don't really see harm to anyone to okay a variance. And I think they got enough there with number 2, exceptional situation.
I agree with you very strongly, and I think we have an applicant here who, step by step, was trying to do the right thing. In fact, I think ethically, you went above and beyond to try to do the right thing. And the fact that the city gave bad advice, really, you were operating, believing that was the correct way to proceed.
And it felt like the city assumed that they could get the variance. That felt implied. Like, okay, well, we'll just seek a variance here because.
Sometimes the right thing to do is the right thing to do.
Patrice?
I agree.
Jim?
I do too.
I do too.
I agree.
Chuck? Any more you want to add to it?
No,
Okay.
I'm not gonna agree. I think that they have an option, they can roll back and they can build the building inside with the 25-foot setback, 11 units. I also think they've got another hurdle that they've got to get over at Burnt Store, which is, I think is gonna be really impactful. And I think that they're just going with the idea that, hey, we need to punt the ball and, you know, regroup and redo the design and put the building up as is. Yeah, and just not worry about, because if this goes to city council, it's not gonna get approved.
All right, entertain a motion to,
I'll make the motion.
to
I'll second the motion. Do you want to read it?
to request approval, the city council to request approval. Yeah, that's
Do
it.
we have to read it?
No, you read this part. Then you have to put the number.
Rachel Berry, zoning official for the record. If I may, if you would also include with your recommendation, just a statement setting forth the reasons why that is your recommendation.
Well,
Do we need to read this?
However you want to merge your motion.
Make the motion.
Hey, John, hold on real fast. Bob, did you close the?
oh, no, wait.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Close it. I just need you to close it first before any motions come.
I guess we should, I didn't even ask the public input, as nobody's here to speak. Joe, are you here to speak for or against this? I guess he is.
Oh.
You haven't been sworn though, so you gotta
I've
get
not
sworn.
been sworn. Sorry, I was late. I'll tell the truth. Been here, done this.
Also, Deputy City Clerk Jennifer Faulkner, for the record, I had to take over for Alex because she had to go pick up her son. Okay, go ahead. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes, I do.
Please make sure you state your name for the record and indicate that you have been sworn. Thank you.
Joe Como, 3959 San Rocco Drive, Unit 221. I live across the street from this. Okay. In process, I'm not sure, but to the best of my knowledge, our homeowners association was never notified of this potential construction. So the lady who just left is my next door neighbor. We hadn't heard anything, and if I hadn't stopped and read the sign, I wouldn't have even known about this. So that's one of the reasons we're here. Next, that's the Home Depot loading dock. If you want to buy a unit backing up to the Home Depot loading dock, be my guest. It's across the street from me, and I tell you, they are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and every time they raise and lower the door, you hear it. So it is what it is. If you had 11 units instead of 8 units, I guarantee you our homeowners association would be down here in force with comments, because it is a quiet, small street, and where this unit is looking at going, you've got a duplex, a fourplex, a duplex, another vacant lot, and down kind of near where I am, there is one single family home on that street. Everything else is a condo or a duplex, and ours are fourplexes. The way the buildings are set up, they're kind of a U shape, and there's 4 buildings in each one, and there's 9 buildings. BSI, as I recall from the last BSI newsletter, they are still in litigation over whether or not they have the right to impose deed restrictions over city rules and that sort of thing. They got in a little, what started it was metal roofs after the hurricanes, because their deed restrictions say no metal roofs. People started putting metal roofs on, and now they're trying to go back and enforce their deed restrictions, and they're trying to raise money to do it because their court costs are getting a bit high. So I'm not sure all of the legality or where they stand on their right to enforce deed restrictions on owners as it stands now. And where we are in this area, we're kind of estranged from the main part of BSI because we're over on that side of the road, and there's just us and a group of duplexes back there. But from a personal point of view, I don't see any problem at all. You couldn't tell 10 feet on the back of that thing because all it is a grove of trees, and like I said, the Home Depot loading dock. You know, and that's it. There's just kind of trees back there. About half of them went down in Ian and haven't grown back. But, you know, it's just, you know, there's no clear delineation back there. It's just kind of rough shrubbery and some trees and stuff like that on the back side of that dock. So I just, you know, that's just not an official position from the homeowners association or anything else. Half of them are still up north. But from somebody who lives across the street and drives back and forth in front of that multiple times every day, I don't see the back of it from the road.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So this will block that view for you. That'd be good for you.
No, it's up that way. The trees that block my view basically went down in Ian, and it's going to take 50 or 60 years for those trees to go back, unfortunately. So, anyhow.
Thank you for your comments.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
This is the second call for anyone speaking, want to speak in the public hearing. Seeing none. Third request for public speakers. Hearing none. Close the public, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Moved and second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay. So I'll now entertain a motion to approve or deny this variance.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Based on the evidence and testimony presented at this public hearing for item B03-2025, I find that this request is consistent with the City of Punta Gorda Comprehensive Plan and move that we recommend to the City Council approval of this request.
Is there a second?
I second.
Patrice seconds. We've got a motion and a second. And the motion is to approve D03-2025, request by Carlos Reyes as an authorized applicant on behalf of Open Concept Developers, LLC, property owner pursuant to Chapter 26, Section 16.10 Punta Code, for a 10-foot setback reduction to allow a 15-foot rear setback, yard setback, instead of the required 25 feet for a proposed multifamily development. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passed 6-1. Anybody, we'll just go. Any comments? I'll start with you again.
No comments.
No comments?
No.
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 Any comments? Or just
No.
for the good? No comment here? We're adjourned.